Welcome into the 14ASports radio show. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in on this beautiful 23rd of October, 2013. And to kick it off, we got to wish one of our own a very happy birthday here at the
Absolutely.
table. Happy 29th
Happy
to
29th
Richie
to
K
Richie.
right here.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
All right.
Happy
Right on
birthday
cue.
to you.
Very nice.
Happy birthday, dear
Whoa! Look
Richie.
at that. Eyeballs?
Happy
Hey.
birthday to you.
Now that's fancy,
Nice.
Coles.
Very nice. Cole, what did you start already?
Yeah, what the hell did you do?
Little sample on the
Get a
side?
load of that cake right there. Man,
spill
I
it.
could see this coming
Yeah.
off the rails.
Look at that. Coles getting in there, but look at that. That's something else, huh?
That's a nice October. Is that Halloween themed right there?
Nice.
With the
Happy
eyeballs and
birthday,
stuff?
Rich.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That's
Spectacular
very nice.
birthday. Very nice, Coles.
Damn.
Oh, please, Jen.
Okay. Definitely want to munch on some of that at the break. Definitely want to get
Coles
into
or the
that.
cake?
Very nice. That's not
The
nice.
one-line king.
That's not nice. So how was your birthday so far today? Have a good day so far?
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah? A
Not
lot of
special.
hard work?
Yeah, not special. You know,
I know.
29's here and
The-
like
the
countdown
more-
to 30.
The older you get, man, the less important they become, right?
Right?
Yeah. Well, we've all had a birthday celebration here on the show thus far. Cole's is up next. I
Yeah.
believe that's November,
21st,
mid-November
I
at
think.
some time. Yeah.
21st?
Yep. So we'll have a nice little party for Cole's. I was actually taking because we knew your birthday was coming up next week. I believe Cole's birthday is going to fall on Thanksgiving Eve this
Oh, yeah?
year. Yes. No, the week
No.
before. Okay, so I don't know my calendar dates that well, but we'll still party regardless. We got our nice cake, maybe a spooktacular one.
Spooktacular.
Gobble, gobble, something.
I definitely want some of that. That looks
Yeah,
pretty
that
good.
looks good. I
Definitely
got dibs
looks
on an
good.
eyeball.
All right, you got it. All right, well, let's get into the world of sports. As we all know, we got the World Series starting up here tonight. St. Louis Cardinals going to take on the Boston Red Sox here in Game 1. And the great thing about this is, you probably have two of the most loyal fan bases in all of baseball going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about, we're pretty much an NFL sports-driven culture these days. The NFL is definitely the dominant sport. When in terms of revenue, in terms of fan base, in terms of TV ratings, but Boston, St. Louis, probably two. I don't know if you want to include New York, maybe. But Boston, St. Louis, probably two of the only main baseball-driven, baseball-crazed towns left in the country. I think these are the two best teams in baseball. I don't think you could ask for more. I like that. I think with the addition of the second playoff, the second wild card, it makes it harder for those wild card teams to advance. And you're seeing the benefit of it. I think it's better for everyone because these are the two best teams. Starting off with a great matchup tonight, Wainwright Lester. The pitching. St. Louis is going to have to win with their pitching, I think. I think Walker's going to have to pitch well. He was unbelievable in the NLCS. The 2-3-2 series, St. Louis is looking to take one in Fenway. How do you see it shaping up? Who do you like going to it?
Oh, what do you like in this?
You gotta like the Cardinals because I hate the fucking Red Sox. Right? I know, but like I said, two of the greater fan bases, they deserve to have their teams there because when they're mediocre, the fans still come out. So it's good that they get there on that. But you're absolutely right. If they're gonna win, they gotta win with their pitching, timely hitting, and
Yeah. I know one of the things that Boston really tried to do in the series against Detroit, is they tried to extend the starters and get to their bullpen.
Boston,
at one point.
that was their game plan the entire year.
Absolutely.
They led the league in pitches thrown by starters. You're right. They want to take a lot of pitches, foul balls off, get into deep counts, and get to the bullpen.
Right. And that's not going to work so well in this
you're
one
100%
because,
right.
St. Louis has a absolutely great bullpen, great lineup up and
Dude,
down.
everyone that comes out of that St. Louis bullpen is throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's unbellievable.
Good luck with
they're
that in
coming with
October.
cheddar. And against Detroit, Poppy had the huge home run, and they were able to get into that underbelly of a Detroit bullpen. Detroit got great starting pitching for the most part. With Verlander, Scherzer, Gabby Sanchez, but that underbelly.
gotta
But
be patient with those guys.
You're not gonna see that now with St. Louis. Even if their starters go 5 or 6, they got flamethrowers coming out of pen. They got two lefties. For Ellsbury Ortiz, Slayton Games. They got Choate and that kid Smythe. I'll tell you what, though, against the Dodgers, that St. Louis defense wasn't very good. And if you give those Red Sox lineup is so deep, you give those guys outs, and they'll make you pay. Interesting. They're gonna when the series moves to St. Louis, they're gonna have to play without Ortiz or Napoli. Napoli, he won the game against Verlander. He was really getting hot in that series. The one game he almost hit for the cycle. So one of those guys is going to have to be on a bench, which obviously a huge advantage for St. Louis. And they also, in the Boston series, they get back their most productive offensive player throughout the course of the season, who they're playing without Alan Craig. He's going to be able to DH. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to play first base, but that's a huge boost to that St. Louis lineup. So I mean, it's shaping up to be a great World Series. You'd be surprised if it has to go at least 6, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I would think so.
Just because they're so evenly matched. But I think Boston's bullpen, besides Yahara, is a little susceptible. And that St. Louis defense, it's not very good. John Jay had a rough series against the Dodgers. Made a couple bad plays in center.
Hey, you get tricky bounces off those walls there in Fenway. A lot of turns.
Yeah, playing that wall, absolutely. But yeah, you know what? I'm excited about it. It looks to be a good series. You got marquee players. How about Carlos Beltran? Mets, finally makes a World Series. You know what? He's one of the, as much as we remember him for that strikeout curveball against Wainwright, Game 7, 06. He's one of the best postseason players of all time.
Yeah, from that one with the
unbelievable.
Astros.
Yeah, he had that run with Houston. That was crazy.
But he actually he played pretty well with the Mets, and he was unbelievable this year too. Great offensive player.
I know you. I know you touched on a little bit earlier where both teams finished with 97 wins. They're at the top of the AL and the NL respectively. This is the first time since 1999 that the top 2 teams from the AL and the NL have been in the World Series. Now, another thing that this come down to is 9 of the last 10 Game 1 winners have won the World Series, and then if you want to go back even further, 25 or 21 out of the last 25 that have won Game 1 have won the series.
That's a pretty powerful stat.
Yeah.
So, I think Boston, they're definitely going to have the advantage. Boston's going to be rocking. They're always rocking at Fenway, but now that it's World Series time, and this team just, they love each other. I know that sounds a little corny, but they're all growing the beards out. They have that camaraderie and all that stuff.
Yeah, you know what?
They kind of do seem to have that. It's like
gelling,
that mojo.
Like they had back in, what was that, 04?
But if your pitcher doesn't get outs and you don't get, like you said, Rich, timely hitting with guys on base, that mojo doesn't take you too far. But
there's going to be a lot of small ball that needs to be played in this and matchups. And
you know what's unbelievable with that St. Louis franchise? First of all, they have 6 rookie pitchers on their roster. They have 19, I think it was 18 or 19 out of their 25-man roster is homegrown.
Yeah,
that is a testament to that front office where they're just developing players. And you always hear on sports radio that you talk about the Yankees. Why don't the Yankees have any players in a pipeline? And they say, well, they picked so far back in drafts because they're so good. St. Louis has been awesome for the last decade, and they just keep developing these guys. And how about you look, these major contracts in baseball, the best contract that St. Louis didn't sign was that Pujols one, right?
Yeah.
You know who the compensation pick for the Pujols signing was?
Waka.
Yeah. Waka.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huge.
Absolute huge. And then you got Boston, last year, an absolute debacle with Bobby Valentine. They won 68, 69 games. The year before, the chicken and beer fiasco of September.
Yeah.
So, they made that huge trade with the Dodgers, cleared all that space. They go out and sign a bunch of guys.
Bad mojo out of it.
A testament to both of their front offices. A little bit different styles. Boston's still throwing that money around, but obviously much more effective this time. St. Louis just keeps turning out players, man. And 6 rookie pitchers on your postseason roster taking it to the World Series. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Well, maybe these guys, they succumb to the pressure a little bit finally.
Why?
As you get to the
they
series.
They haven't done it yet. Why would they start?
It's a lot bigger.
You know what? When you throw 100 miles an hour, just, let them hit it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how they ruined Jabba, Just made him
real quick before we get to the NFL, any predictions in this series?
Give me, you know what? I don't think the home field in baseball is huge, but you wouldn't pick a road team in the 7th game, and obviously the 7th in Fenway. So I'm gonna have St. Louis taking it in 6.
Okay.
Little redemption for that 04 when Medini was actually on that team, where they came back from the Yankees, and that World Series was just a formality. They ran over them in 4 games. But I think St. Louis gets it back. I think Beltran gets a ring. I think St. Louis, I think they have a pretty good lineup. I think Alan Craig's a big addition. They got to catch the ball. I think that's a huge fact. They got to catch the ball. Give me St. Louis in 6.
All right, Rich.
I'm taking the Cards. 5.
Oh, all right.
5, just to be different.
Well, different way. Well, I'll get real different. I'll be the Red Sox conglomerate here. Red Sox conglomerate here at the table. I'll take the Red Sox in 7. Just home field. I think. I don't think a home game will be lost in this entire series. I think the home team will win every game in this series.
Well, I think if St. Louis goes down 2-0, where they pitch Wainwright and Waka, I think that's big for them. They got to have to take one of these first two, no doubt about it.
I know, and I hate going against Wainwright here. I just think it's going to be a tight game, and I actually like Wainwright better than Lester, but I just think that the home field will help the Red Sox eventually. I can't even
You
say
can't get that name.
Rod Sox.
Rod Sox. Red Sox.
I'll tell you what,
Red Sox.
if you look at the St. Louis splits throughout the year, and I know they pounded Kershaw to win the pennant, but they don't hit lefties. They haven't hit lefties that well this year. So they got Lester going to game 1. Actually, the Red Sox put Felix Doubront on their postseason roster. He might get a start in game 4. Left-handed guy, a little funky delivery. So that's something to watch. The left-handed. How if St. Louis is able to hit the lefties. So should be a great series. Again, the two best teams moving forward. A testament to both their front offices. And I'm looking forward to it.
Game 1 started already, right?
Yeah, right now. Just 8. I think it was 8:06 was the first pitch. So, yeah, it should be rocking and rolling right now.
All right, we'll keep guys updated on that.
Along.
All right, so the NFL had a great Week 7 this week. Gotta toot my own horn a little bit here before we get to the local teams. The Indianapolis Colts upset the Denver Broncos in that huge game over there at Lucas Oil Stadium on Sunday night. Like I said, I thought Peyton would get a little caught up in the whole production of the pregame and all that. And it's funny because him getting caught up is 375, 3 TDs and a pick. But
you think he got caught up? I think they just hit him.
Well, they started out slow.
The first drive, they scored a touchdown.
No, they did. It was the second.
Second drive, they scored a touchdown.
Right, out of that. But, listen, they have the ball a lot. They're moving that offense really quick. They got one touchdown quick. The second drive, but overall in that first half, they look terrible.
The Colts came out, punched them in the mouth, and put them on their heels a little bit early.
Yeah, the fumble right there, where the guy they originally called it no fumble, guy basically stripped it going out of bounds.
Yeah,
the kick was incredible.
That was a great play.
The punter absolutely rocked Holiday on that one. That was great.
Yeah, that was a great return. No, but I think if you watch that, the Colts secondary was so physical with those Denver receivers, and Collinsworth made the point. And, I heard people say they didn't like to see it, but they held them on every play. The Colts secondary, when you watch the replays, they were holding on every play. And they made the point that, they're not going to call it every single play. You know what I mean? So if you hold them on every play, if they call a couple of them, you're still ahead of the game. And Mathis obviously had a huge game off the edge. Had that strip sack on Peyton for the safety. So that I think the car. I know they put up a bunch of points, Denver, but you got to tip your hat to that Colt defense. They played very well, definitely. Very, very well on that track. And Andrew Luck, man, you know what separates him from the prototypical pocket passers like your Brady's and the Manning brothers? He could run for that first down, man.
Yeah.
He could run for that first down.
They had a stat during the game too. I said I believe he's rushed for 13 times on third down, and he's gotten a first down on every single one of them. So and I was talking to Rich, throughout before and throughout the game, and I was telling him, I was like, listen, once it got closer to game time, you could kind of look and see the faces on everyone, and I kind of thought that it was a bit more about Andrew Luck than it was about Peyton Manning in this game. Here comes Peyton Manning into Luck's house now. I know it's the house that Peyton built. But, Luck had something definitely to prove in this game.
Oh, yeah, like you're saying it was a coming out party for him, and I told you, I think it's more about Peyton coming back and saying, wait, I'm not dead.
Right.
And watch what I can still do. But, it was a hell of a freaking show.
Yeah. It was
I said, this is a game I wouldn't bet on. I just sit back, watch, and enjoy it because it's going to be fun.
You think Luck went into that game feeling like he had something to prove?
Absolutely.
I disagree with that. And his quotes after the game completely belied that point. He said, it's one game.
Of course you're not going to say that, but at the same time, you definitely want to be Peyton Manning.
I don't think that you think he's going to try any harder to win because it's Peyton Manning? I don't. I think they try to win every game, and that's what they said about Peyton. Said the same thing. He said, I take it as an insult to say that people are saying, "Oh, I really want to win this game." He said, since I was 7 years old, every time I put a helmet on, I try to win the game. I'm not trying any more or less hard to win this game. I think that it's the play on the field, and the Colts defense just played better than the Denver defense.
I understand that, but you don't think when these guys are saying,
No.
"Oh, this is just another game," they're lying through their teeth. This is the biggest game in the NFL this season up to this point so far. You know, both
I
sides.
think if you
both
play
sides
like
had a
that,
lot
you
to
don't play
prove.
as well. I don't think it's about proving anything. It's about winning the game. I think that you just try to
Obviously,
win.
both teams want to win.
You play to win the
Obviously,
game.
they want
That
to
whole
win.
I prove something. That's all media driven. That's all media creation. It absolutely is.
We like to buy into
Peyton
it.
Manning's, Peyton
We are
Manning's
the media.
38 years old. He's been in Super Bowls and huge playoff games. Even going back to college, huge SEC championships. The outside stuff doesn't affect him at all. You know what affects him? Robert Mathis coming off his blind side and whacking him. That's what affects him. That left tackle
Getting hit, period.
losing Clady was a huge loss for them.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that you really saw it. You know, Mathis dominated. I don't even remember to replace his name. He dominated that dude, start to finish. And that was the difference in the game. And the Colts receivers played well. I don't think it was about proving anything.
Maybe
They just played better.
Big trouble down the road. Then you think when they face Kansas City in a few weeks, and that defense.
Well, listen,
You get to
absolutely.
Manning, you see what happens when you get to him. And historically, if you get to him, you're gonna bother him. and disrupt his
100%.
rhythm.
Absolutely. And he was throwing balls, that he was throwing ducks, And I don't think it was a product of injury or anything of that nature. They were coming after him, man, and they got to him. And I think that's what it came down to. And, you got to tip your cap to the Colt defense.
When
and,
he's locked in and he's scoring 50 points a game, he could see that rusher coming as soon as he snaps the ball, and he essentially lays down. You never really see him take a hit,
Rarely.
But
Yeah.
when they're hitting him, and he's gonna have a bad day.
Right. No, absolutely. So, no, it was a very entertaining game at the very least.
All right, well, that wasn't the only game in the NFL this week. Very interesting one on Sunday in the afternoon game. The Patriots came into Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium, could not pull it out against the Jets. Of course, we got the whole push on the line, controversy and all that. But let's be honest, man, this Jets team played very well. They ran 89 plays in the game in this one, which was a huge difference. That allowed them to get to overtime. Chris Ivory was the main rusher in this game, which we haven't seen anything of this year. But
Curly had a
the
big
Jets,
day, right?
the Jets rushed for 177 yards in this one, and I think we're starting to see the effects of Wilfork and Mayo being away from this defense, even though they did get a pick six early. But it's Geno Smith, that'll happen.
No, 100%. And you got to give the Jets credit. I mean, they go into the locker room at halftime. They're down 21-10, and they come out and absolutely dominate the third quarter. They take their own pick six back to the house. That kid Allen played. He had a very good game. He intercepted one of those Brady passes, took it back to the house. Going in 21-10, they're down to the Pats. I think they're dead. I don't think they're coming out winning this game.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any shot. And you know what? I was completely wrong on the Jets this year. They're a lot better than I thought.
They got heart, man.
And I think it starts with them on both sides of the line. You said, Ivory rushing the ball, and obviously Will Fork, huge loss, in the middle of that defense. Mayo, their leading tackler, their cap, he calls the plays. Huge losses. But give the Jets credit. The Jets have run the ball effectively for the most part their whole season. And, Willie Colon, I think, was a huge addition for them at guard. Brian Winters now, they slot him at the other guard. They have a very good offensive line. And Geno made the one mistake, the pick six, but give him credit. The kid leads another drive, and I know it was absolutely a fluky kind of call, but a win is a win, and unbelievable win.
Do you think Rex Ryan has to go to the playoffs with this team to keep his job at this point? Or
I don't know. I think he's surpassed a lot of expectations thus far.
Yeah,
I think 4
absolutely.
was the win total where the Jets are going to be this
I
season.
think Wood Johnson loves him so much that he's probably done enough at this point to keep it, unless they completely fold down the stretch here.
Well, how about the? You know what I think didn't get enough play? So obviously they get the call on the penalty, but I thought it was a horrible decision to try and kick that 56-yard field goal.
I agree.
And that didn't get any burn. The whole play was on the call. And listen, I understand that people saying, well, you can't make that call in that spot in overtime. But is it, the call was right.
Rules are
right?
rules.
The call was right. That's like in the NBA. Well, you can't call a foul with 3 seconds. All right, well, a foul's a foul. If you call a foul in the first quarter, you got to call it there.
We've talked about that in NBA Finals time a lot.
So the call is the call, and it was the right call. The refs made the right call. And, that whole Belichick Rex thing, we warned them. No, we didn't. They did the same thing. I mean, who cares? That doesn't matter. But first of all, what are the Patriots even trying to do to block that? It's a 56-yard kick in the wind at MetLife. That's one of the hardest places to kick. They should have had a guy trying to return the kick. Never mind trying to block it. And if they don't get that call, Tom Brady's getting the ball, going down and kicking a field goal, and winning the game. So I thought that call, the fact that Rex tried to kick that field goal, I thought that was absurd. I really did.
Is Nick Folk the Jets MVP this year with 3 game-winning kicks?
Well, he's
that's
clutch,
incredible.
Man. Yeah,
that's incredible. Big stat in that one too. Third down conversions. New England 1 of 12. Jets 11 of 21. So big difference in that. And then the following night we got another game at MetLife Stadium. I don't even know if you want to call that a game, but the Vikings coming in there against the Giants. Obviously, the Giants get their first W of the season. Congratulations. I expect some applause when my team finally gets to win, but. They have a 9.5-minute opening drive. They don't get the touchdown there to start the game. But
Nick's got to catch that ball, man.
Yeah.
How bad a game did Nick play?
That was an overthrow. Thought that was a little bit of an overthrow.
A little bit. I thought he could have caught it. Whatever. You need to. 9.5 minutes. You want to get a touchdown out of that. But you know what I took out of this game? Obviously, they won. They didn't turn the ball over by the grace of God. They should have. They should have had about. They literally should have had. They easily could have had 3 or 4.
Right.
Eli hit the Vikings in the chest through 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I know the one time the second tight end fell down, so that's not really his fault. But the one time he stepped, and did you see? I don't understand. They're blitzing the A gaps, right? And they did the same thing last week. Why can't we block the A gaps? And they collapse the A gaps. Eli tries to step up and make a play, and when he tried to throw that out, it hit that Minnesota corner right in the chest. He absolutely dropped it.
Sherrills could have been a hero.
That was a pick 6 written all over it. You know what that game, as a Giant fan, you know what that tells me? This season's over. I don't care if they won. I don't care if they win next week. Because if they win next week, it'll be fluky. It doesn't matter. The season's over. They're not that good. They're not that good. They're just not that good. That's what it comes down to.
It's great to hear that from you because after a Tuesday morning, when I seen it on the news, the people on the news, the Giants won. They could still win the division. I'm like, shut up. It's over. They won that game because Josh Freeman sucks. And the Minnesota Vikings aren't a very good team.
Well, think of it like this. Josh Freeman played one of the worst quarterback games you'll ever see, and they were still in the game. They were absolutely still in the game.
Beningo said today 2 of the worst quarterback performances this year came both from Josh Freeman at MetLife opening week.
That's funny, yeah.
How about 18 overthrows in that game? A statistic that they've just been keeping recently, but 18 overthrows.
What's he looking to write the record?
Oh, my God. That's so many.
And you can see the Giants, their whole game plan was, all right, we'll let Freeman throw. We're going to stop
54
Peterson.
4 times
you still got to give Peterson the ball. What do you have, like 13 carries?
13 carries, 28 yards.
But you got how do you throw the ball 54 times and give you the best player on the field 13 carries?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what.
And it's not like the game was a blowout. They were right in.
You could get some screen passes going for the guy. But what they were doing, they were stacking that line and making Freeman beat them. But, listen, a lot of these throws that Freeman was making, you don't need the playbook to make those throws.
100%.
There were a ton of throws out there that were, I probably could have made, and my arm's blown out. So, I thank God Shiano maybe got rid of Freeman. Now we get some new blood out there in Tampa. Not about us right now, but, just a terrible, terrible performance by Freeman. And the thing that happened there, too, he got knocked the hell around there in the fourth quarter. Just when the Giants know that, he's going to be every pass that he threw, he was on the ground getting up like, I don't want to go to work.
He almost no-mossed it. Yeah,
should have played tennis.
So, but what does that say about Ponder and Matt Castle that they stuck?
Well,
with
Matt Castle wasn't dressed.
Oh, he wasn't available.
Nah, so it was
Lucky
just Freeman.
I don't think Ponder's any good, but he's better than what Freeman played like. How did he not go to the bullpen in that game?
God.
I don't know. I guess
they got to draft a quarterback badly.
Absolutely. But anyway, I think just going back to the Giants season's over. If the Giants win that game 35-0 and are very impressive, then you say, all right, we have a Philly team. We get that game. No one's run away with this division yet. Maybe we can string something together. The Giants played horrible. They were brutal.
If they ran into a half decent team, they'd lose the game.
Oh, they would have got waxed. They should have. That game should have been a lot closer than it was with the plays they made. Peyton Hillis fumbles the ball. Bounced right. And Sean O'Hara goes on the radio and he goes, "Well, I think the Giants are gonna, win out the rest of the season and go 8-8, or because now the ball's starting to bounce their way." Are you kidding me?
Stop putting the ball on the ground.
Talk about a homer analysis. That's insane.
Well, I'll tell you what, going to the schedules, I always love to. You got Philly next week.
It doesn't matter.
No, well, hold on. You'll have a little bit of a chance because you got Philly next week, you win there, you're 2-6. Bye week, you got Oakland after that. You're at 3-6. Then, Green Bay, that's a winnable game. Dallas, winnable game.
Not the way the Giants are playing.
It's just the last four that's
you're thinking of the Giants.
I'm thinking best case scenario here, but they can definitely beat the Eagles and they can beat the Raiders. You string 3 wins together. You don't know what happens.
Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. But the way the Giants have played, they're not a quality team. They're not an NFL playoff team.
I agree with you. I agree with you that they're not going to the playoffs. I'm just saying that there is a chance with the way that this division is that it could happen. That 8-8 could potentially get you into the playoffs this year.
Listen, Dallas is clearly a better team than the Giants. The way RG3's starting to turn it on, if RG, and they get their running game going in Washington, Alfred Morris had a big day. I know he didn't score. Halu had the 3 touchdowns, but once they get that spread going, and RG3's only 1 hit away, but that offense is better. Our offensive line can't block. It can't block. So the Giants are going nowhere.
Right, they have to go 7-2. And looking at the schedule here, there's 3 losable games.
Unless they alternated games between Minnesota, Jacksonville, and Tampa Bay for the rest of the season, there's no way they're doing anything.
He said your team.
Relax, just because you say
it's true.
All right, so we had a lot of injuries this week in the NFL. Probably affected your fantasy team. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But coming up after the break, we're going to have Kevin Epstein calling in. Let's grab a caller.
The Cali area?
That's a California area.
Well, welcome to the 14ASports show. Caller, who is this?
This is David James.
Hey,
what baseball's going on?
The predictor.
What's up, brother?
We didn't see that come. We didn't predict that.
Long time no talk. How's it going?
Good. I don't know. I was told to call in Wednesday at this time.
I thought we were going to
Brian told me to.
I thought we were going to do it next week.
Oh, Brian said, and I said, during the World Series? And he goes, no, that's the date I got for that one.
Hey, we're about to go to commercial break, but I'll give you a call as soon as we get off, all right?
That sounds good.
All right, thanks. All right, well, that's a good segue because next week we're going to have David James on. Little miscommunication. No, that's all right.
Talk to our talent.
But coming up after the break, we'll have Kevin Epstein. We'll talk about who you should be getting on the waiver wire in fantasy football. Right now, we'll have a video from Aston. This one's called A Million Miles. When we get back, Kevin Epstein, 14A Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio.
Let's go!
Welcome back into the 14A Sports Radio Show. All right, so we have a fantasy football specialist here on the show. We haven't had him on since the season has been going on here in 2013. We have another call.
Are we capable of multi-calls?
No, we're not. All right, but everybody welcome Kevin Epstein.
Kevin, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Oh, shit. What's up, Kev?
Did you like your sound effects?
I did. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
We're glad you're impressed.
So,
you got to get a little theme song going.
We really upgraded.
Now, how's fantasy football going for you?
It's going good. Good. It's I love it. This is the best time of year for me. So, I'm just enjoying every single week. Every game, I love it.
I'll tell you what, man. This getting into it. This was a tough week for a lot of fantasy teams. Guys going down left and right. The repercussions of what went on. Moving forward, it's going to be very, very interesting, huh?
Just a reminder. The changing landscape every week. One week you're on top of the world. Randall Cobb's killing it. Next thing you know, he's gone. Your team is missing. You got no fill-ins. That's part of the fun. You got to be ready to go when. Injuries happen because that's what football's all about. People get hurt.
Hey, Kev, I had Reggie Wayne go down in my one league. Who's the guy to go and scoop up in his? Who's going to step up in Indy?
I mean, you got to obviously T.Y. Hilton is probably going to be their number one guy, but he's probably on someone's team already. Yep. The big guy, I went after Darius Hayward-Bay pretty big this week on a waiver wire. Basically, Indy's got a prolific offense, and when you think about it. Somebody's got to be catching those passes. Their running game is horrible, so it's got to go to DHB and a little bit of Kobe Fleener. I think it's a bump. If he's available, he's a guy you want to pick up too.
Well, how about this with the Colts? So the Colts, they try to go run heavy and real quick, that was some trade for Trent Richardson. He's not even playing. But so a lot of them, they run out a lot of two receiver sets. Like their base formation is a two receiver set. So T.Y. Hilton was the third receiver. They had Darius Hayward-Bay in that second receiver with Reggie Wayne. So not Hayward-Bay. I think the main beneficiary of the Reggie Hilton is, and he's already been a big player, is going to be T.Y. Hilton because he's going to be on the field for every snap now. He's going to be a starter, which he wasn't. And in the NFL now, it's kind of weird, but because the Colts ran that two receiver set, he's going to be out there now. And I think, especially in a PPR league, his targets and his receptions are going to increase. What do you think of that?
No, I agree 100%. Listen, T.Y. is the more talented guy. So, there's something to talent. And T.Y. is just a better player than Hayward-Bay is. But I thought T.Y. was having a pretty decent year. He was inconsistent, but, he had some big games. I would look for him to now pretty much string together regular. He jumps up to sort of wide receiver 2 status.
Yeah.
Right, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's a good space. That's what Reggie Wayne was really.
Right,
so
right.
T.Y. Hilton kind of takes over that spot. But Darius Hayward-Bay was a guy that you didn't even have on your bench. I mean, he was just nothing. And now he's a relevant guy. He's a wide receiver 3 flex type guy that you could probably pick up. He's probably available. And, it's the bye weeks. You probably need a fill-in somewhere, so he's a guy that you probably get. Whoever owns T.Y., and he's probably on someone's team already, that guy now should be starting him 100% wide receiver 2 as one of their better wide receivers.
Now, keeping with the Indy theme, do you see any production out of Levon Brazil? I know we haven't heard much of him this year, but he was a big name, maybe coming out of training camp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's never done anything, so yeah, he's going to be the third guy there, and I guess I would not roster him on my team. I don't think he's necessarily worth a bench spot, but I'd keep an eye on him, and if he puts together a good week or two, then be ready to pounce. Like I said, Darius Hayward-Bay, his problem is he's not that good, and he drops a lot of balls. He's fast, but he's not very good. So you never know what happens with a guy like that. Either he'll step it up and maybe start to do something, or maybe Levon Brazil steps in and he becomes sort of the guy there. They're looking for a long-term solution now in Indy because Reggie Wayne at his age.
Yeah, it's probably over.
I kind of think he's finished.
I agree. Now, also, too, I know Molly was talking about the two receiver sets in Indy. More targets for Colby Fleener, I'm assuming, right?
Big time, yeah. Colby Fleener, he's a guy that now is in the radar. He's a startable tight end every week, or he should be in this offense. The way that's set together, I really think actually T.Y. and both T.Y. and
Hello, Kev,
You with us?
Kev.
No. All right. A little technical
lost him
difficulty.
there.
Well, while we wait for him, a little score update. Mike Napoli, we talked about him, had a huge bases loaded triple, bases loaded double. So Boston gets to Wainwright early in the bottom of the first, and they're up 3-0. Runner on third, 2 outs.
Damn you, Red Sox.
The X-Man, Xavier Bogaerts up. So the Red Sox jumping on Wainwright and the Cardinals early in Fenway. So
It looks like
something
they'll
to
be
keep an
into
eye
that
on.
flame-throwing bullpen now.
But we'll wait for Kev to call back, and while we're talking about him,
I hope he wasn't driving.
Like Stan. Yeah, he drove off the cliff. It's not that big. We'll get a replacement for Reggie Wayne. Walsh, you want to stick with the injuries though in fantasy? How about your boy Dougie Martin, who really honestly hasn't done much. A lot of people, he was a second, third overall pick in a lot of leagues. Didn't really do much. Now you got Mike James. As a Tampa fan, you see Mike James being a startable player.
I think a couple of weeks. I don't think this week against Carolina. Carolina has already
Front
established
seven.
himself as a very physical front seven. I know a couple weeks down the line, I think they've got Atlanta. Here's Epstein back. Hey, buddy, we hope you didn't have a stand moment there.
Yeah.
You drove off the cliff or something.
No, I don't know what that was.
You know,
I just was gone.
we got
Gotta pay
another
the bills.
number calling in here at the same time, so I don't know.
Somebody's
Maybe
trying to
something
steal
with
your
that.
thunder.
But Kev, we were just discussing, Walsh's team in Tampa. Dougie Martin goes down, and now you got Mike James, 6th-round rookie, coming in to replace him. How do you feel about Mike James? Is he a startable guy at this point? What do you think?
I think you don't have a choice. If you own Doug Martin, you pretty much, you got to get this Mike James character. It'll probably give you whatever Doug Martin was giving you, which wasn't very much to begin with.
Right.
You know, you never know with these guys. Mike James had a little bit of hype. You know, he had a nice preseason. I don't know what he's going to do. The whole Tampa.
Boy.
Nice.
What is he, in the mountains?
This never happened before.
Epstein. Get on a landline.
This never happened with anyone.
No, I know.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Well, I think what he's alluding to is that, you know, there wasn't much going on in Tampa anyway, so you might as well get Mike James while you can. But, yeah, I mean,
maybe get a pleasant surprise somewhere along.
That whole offense is in shambles. And I know Rich was talking about him because, you know, he's asking me, hey, what do you think about Mike James? Should I grab him in any leagues? Hey, he's from the U.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and at this point, anytime you can grab a starter, you know, it's worth having on your team.
Absolutely.
You know, who knows? You know, maybe that Tampa gets going.
Yeah,
you know,
I was just looking for points.
I don't know
anyway.
about all that,
Probably
but no.
But what did he have last week? 14 touches.
He's a starting player.
Yeah, he had 14 carries last week, but only like 40 yards, right? So
I'll give
he
you
had he had 3 receptions.
Speaking of injuries, let me give you another team, the Packers, and Epstein was kind of talking about it with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb goes down. Here we go.
He's a
Finley down, got everybody down.
Hey, they say third time's a charm.
So this is fun.
Hello,
Kev.
There you go.
Kev.
Regular phone.
Yeah, we got you. All right.
What are you in the mountains tonight?
Mickey Mouse.
No, I'm on my normal line. I don't know. I'll try. If it happens again, I'll try with my cell phone, but I don't know.
All right, we're good.
But anyway, I was saying, I'm a seller of everybody involved with that whole Tampa team at this point. Just get me out of there. Something stinks on that team
Vinny
right now.
Jackson, too?
No, it's the Mercer.
Yeah, maybe. You know, I don't know, but yeah, I'd get rid of Vinny Jackson. I'd sell high on him.
Yeah, he had a huge game last week. Did you see that one-handed catch? That was
bananas.
He's a great player. Yeah, he's a big talent. Actually, for the first time, they're using him right. Throw the ball up to the guy. He's bigger and stronger than everyone else.
Well, you got a young kid quarterback. It's his security blanket, you know. So he's
he got if he has one thing, Glenn, he has a big arm. You know, throw the ball.
Yeah, throw it up to Vincent Jackson. He's a big guy. He's going to go up and get it. That's the best thing you could do for a young quarterback. Just toss it up there for Vincent.
So you're selling on Tampa. How about another team? So you got Green Bay, right? Obviously, obviously you're looking to make the playoff team. They suffer a huge blow. They lose Randall Cobb, broken fibula. For all intents, he's basically out for at least a fantasy year. He can't come back till week 15, and then who even knows? So now, and then Jermichael Finley goes down. He's definitely out for the rest of the year with the spinal injury.
James Jones.
James Jones is a question mark, right? You don't know if he's starting. So how do you view Boykins? I think I luckily grabbed Boykins in a league last week, but he was a huge waiver wire pickup this week.
Only one Boykin.
Oh, it's singular Boykin?
Yeah.
Him and his whole family and his mama. So Boykin. So how do you view Boykin? You think he could? You know, he's a replacement for Randall Cobb, not as productive, but what are you seeing out of him?
Boykin is set for a strong year. There's no two ways around it. You know, both Boykin and Lacey get a big bump with the loss of those other two guys, Cobb and Finley. Aaron Rodgers is great. He's got to throw the ball somewhere.
Right.
He's going to get it to Boykin. He's going to get it to. They're going to run it more with Lacey. Jordy Nelson, top 10 guy right now. Love it. Love the Boykin pickup. That's like getting the cavalry riding in for your team, especially if you didn't lose Cobb but you just picked him up.
Right.
He's going to be big for the rest of the season. He's definitely a guy. I did really well with him on daily on the FanDuel leagues last week.
Yeah.
Huge pickup, really cheap to buy last week, and price is moving up, but he is a guy that you want on your radar for sure.
Absolutely. All right, speaking of, you mentioned selling high on Vinny Jackson. Any other guys that maybe, you have on your team, maybe have outperformed expectations thus far? Maybe you're looking to move right now, kind of selling high before they, lose some value. Anyone of that nature that we could maybe be looking to move to maximize value? Anyone on your radar for that?
Right now, some of the guys that I'd be looking to sell high on, definitely Josh Gordon while he's still got value.
Okay.
Because he had a couple of huge weeks, but I don't like his quarterback situation one bit.
Right.
D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah.
People don't realize Jonathan Stewart's coming back in a week or two, this is going to go back to this. D'Angelo Williams is going to be a guy who gets you 3 points a week. I mean, he is not someone you're going to want.
Yeah, right.
So I would dump him to somebody who is not as savvy as you or I might be.
Rich, you're looking for D'Angelo.
Just got rid of him.
A couple other guys like Alshon Jeffrey had a couple of big weeks. I'm not sure how much you can get for him, but he's definitely not someone I'm dying to keep on my team with. Slow hands McCoy throwing the ball over there with Cutler out. Another guy's Bilal Powell. And, Al, this works for you. Ivory finally woke up and became the starting running back for the Jets.
Yeah, I released him in like week 2.
Oops.
Probably go get him back.
I just actually picked up Ivory off the waivers in a couple of my leagues this week. Kind of got screwed with Powell last week. I started him. There was no info that said he wasn't going to be playing. This was sort of a surprise, and so I said, you know what, Powell at this point cannot be trusted. Ivory, it looks like the Jets want to go power run. I don't know if they're going to do it every week or if that was a one-week game plan against the Patriots' soft interior defense. But whatever it is, at least Ivory sort of woke up finally. So I'd get rid of Powell. Justin Blackmon is not a guy that I'm crazy about long-term. Had a couple of really huge weeks. Yeah, if I could trade him off and get an Eddie Lacy back, I'd be pretty psyched.
Okay.
Desperate owner.
How about this? Now, I know you were talking about selling people. Now, with Chicago, I mean, you got, Brandon Marshall. I know you touched on Jeffrey, but also Forte. Now, what do you see their expectations as now that McCown is the quarterback?
I think those two guys, they get a little bumped down, but they're still going to have a good season. As a matter of fact, if I saw that the owner of those guys was panicking, I'd be happy to trade for them. Still, I like Forte. He's been great. Trestman's offense is kind of tailor-made for him, and Brandon Marshall's another guy. He's kind of like Vincent Jackson, and you just throw it up. The guy's stronger and bigger than everyone else.
Right.
He's going to catch it. So I'd stick with those guys. You just keep them in your roster. Don't trade them. Don't panic. You're not going to get full value back because if you offered them out, it looks like a panic move.
Right.
At that point, you just stick with those guys. They've been killing it all year. Might as well see what happens.
So now we talked about a couple of sell high guys. Actually, real quick, one last guy. How about you mentioned Josh Gordon on the same team? How about Jordan Cameron? Is a sell high guy?
Oh yeah, definitely. Also a guy. I'm not sure how high he remains at this point. He's had a couple of bad weeks.
Well, he had last week, until that fourth quarter, he didn't do much, but he did wind up with a touchdown. So he did put together some nice points. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'd sell on him. I'm not crazy about, like I said, Whedon. I don't even think Whedon's going to start.
Oh, Campbell. They named Campbell to starter.
Yeah.
Jason Campbell.
Oh.
Would you drive off another cliff?
He is so bad. You remember, he started last year, I think, for Chicago. He was awful. Or either Chicago or San Francisco. He was a fill-in for one of those teams last year, and he was just horrible. He was tough to watch. Those receivers are not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Even Brandon Whedon was better than Campbell. And what a shame what happened to Hoyer. I mean, that guy really had
terrible.
a promising start. I thought he was going to be something special, and
that was
you
tough
go
loss.
ahead and slide and bust up your knee. It's just that was a real shame.
He must have fucked someone over in the past.
The old karma bug.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we spoke about guys that you might want to sell high on. How about the inverse? Who really hasn't been as productive and maybe expected, and looking to have a strong second half of the season? Any guys on your radar that way?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple guys you want to look at on the buy low side. I mean, these are risky, and so when we say buy low, I mean buy low. Don't give up a lot. But I'm still not giving up on C.J. Spiller.
Really?
I'm not giving up.
Wow.
The guy's hurt.
I disagree with you on that one.
Marone, they have a horrible coach in Buffalo. I hate Buffalo as a team. I just can't stand that team, the way that they operate.
Predictable.
But
Everybody
the
was
coach
so high
keeps,
on them.
keeps trotting this guy out there. They're finally talking about letting him rest a week and get healthy.
Yeah.
You know that Fred Jackson is going to get hurt. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but, it will. Spiller could become the lead back there. So I'm not giving up a lot for Spiller, but I definitely wouldn't mind having him on my bench and in case he turns it on. I mean, that's a guy that could lead you to, a championship if he comes around. A couple other guys
Hey, hold on, real quick, Epstein. Remember when we were talking in the preseason? We were talking about you're like, yeah, Fred Jackson. He's a real nice guy and all. I don't see him as somebody. And now look at him. You know, he's there.
I can't believe it. I mean, I'm in shock. You know.
Oh, dude, we all are. We all are.
This is why I still haven't come around. I'm like, nah, this can't be. You know, it's almost surreal. How is it possible? Fred Jackson, he's got to be 37, 38.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's old. You know, for a running back, he should not be doing what he's doing.
But he's a nice guy.
Yeah. He is a nice guy. He's a very nice guy.
Who else? Who else you buying on?
All right, so I'm buying on Larry Fitzgerald. Now, I don't know if this seems like a buy low or not. But
I think his stock is pretty far down.
It's got to be a little bit down.
Yeah.
I looked at his schedule upcoming. All right, he's had some tough games. I think he's actually going to have a good game this week against Atlanta, but they have a pretty decent schedule down for the rest of the way. I wouldn't mind, Fitzgerald owners probably really upset. I mean, he put up a 2 last week, had some real dud games. You know, I wouldn't mind trying to buy low on a Fitzgerald. Garcon is another guy who's had a few bad weeks in a row. The owner might be frustrated. That's a guy I would target.
I like that. I like that whole Redskin team.
How about
I
Jordan,
like that offense.
Jordan Reed, man.
I like Jordan Reed. I like Garcon. RG3's looking like he's getting back into the swing of things. They're running that spread a little more. You know, Halou and Moore's had nice games last week. I think that whole offense. RG3, what do you think on a buy low on his end?
I don't know if it's low anymore, but yeah, I'd be all over that. I agree with you. The whole Redskins team is finally coming around. You know, it's not surprising. When you think about it, everybody got spoiled by what Adrian Peterson did last year, coming off of surgery and just going gangbusters. But the truth is it takes a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
Psychologically, it takes a little bit of time to get comfortable, after an injury.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, they look. Last week it was vintage RG3. The addition of Jordan Reed, I think, helps the whole team. It's not just something that's going to help, RG3's value. Jordan Reed is a legit stud. I mean, he might be the number 4, 5 tight end right now. You know, he's right up there as far as his potential goes. I'm starting him in the leagues. He was my number 1 target this week on the waiver, and I picked him up even a little bit last week. Just off of some rumors. And this week, I went across the board. I didn't get him in all. I got him in a couple of leagues, but I was going after him all across the board. He was my number 1 target on free agency this week.
See ya, Freddie Davis. Bye-bye. A lot of expectations for that guy the last 2 seasons. Goodbye.
Again, Davis was a guy I had on my bench in a few leagues. I figured, he was going to do whatever Jordan Reed is doing now. So, whoops. Who knew? But,
All right. Kev,
can't be stubborn on that.
You got a couple guys coming back here in the next few weeks. You got Harvin, Vereen, Crabtree. What can you expect from these guys? Go out and get them. What do you think?
Absolutely. Not Crabtree, but Vereen and Harvin, if they're still available, they need to be on your roster. Now, I would not start, with a Harvin, he's going to come back slow. So he's not a guy that even when you hear that he's starting, that you're dying to put in your actual starting lineup the first week. I would leave him on my bench, even if he was playing a particular game. The first game he comes back,
he might play Monday night. Yeah.
I would not start him on Monday unless I was desperate. I got to see what kind of a pitch count they put him on. He's going to take some time to develop some chemistry. I actually think his addition. I mean, he's great. I'd love to have him on my team, but more importantly, Russell Wilson's value goes up quite a bit now having a dynamic receiver who could take it to the house, where he hasn't really had anything like that on that team. To this point, his wide receivers are not very good.
No.
So he's, I think it really helps Russell Wilson. It helps the whole team. Love it. And Vereen, I'm all over Vereen.
Oh, yeah.
He is on every one of my benches. Every team that I own. I've drafted him everywhere. Had a great game week 1. I thought I was a fantasy genius.
Yeah. Well, you are. I mean, let's be honest. You really are.
No, he crushed me. Every team he was on. And I had that big game. Breaks the hand. Didn't even see it during the game. So the thing I like about Vereen is since it was a hand injury, he's going to be in shape. He's going to come back full gangbusters. There's not going to be any limitations on him. He is going to go full blast. He's a guy I would start. I have him on all my teams. I'm going to start him week 11, and he's gonna be hopefully he'll be big down the stretch.
All right.
Well, Kevin, I just want to let you know that in the 14A league, I am in first place. Probably unsurprising. We
Hell
predicted
for
that.
the king.
Both me and you. Excellent prediction. So
Wow.
I'm looking to take the championship down this year.
In looking at some of the rosters, after that draft, I'm not shocked.
Thank you.
I'm sitting in fifth right now, so not doing too bad. Richie dead
I'm
last.
still at the
But
bottom.
Richie just made a nice trade this week, so he's looking to get back in.
Nah, it's not.
Yeah.
You never know. This is still early. You could still.
It's a points league
And
too.
it's a points league, so it's easy
Yeah.
to come back.
You never know. It's a points league. It's harder to come back in
I don't
those
know.
leagues.
That's how I feel.
It's very
about
tight
it.
from the 6th place to the 11th place. It's what is it? 24 point.
Yeah.
24
It's-
point.
everybody's
difference,
right in the
so,
mix.
Yeah.
So how many people make the playoffs? Six.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bottom crew is all bunched up. In my league of record, I had a rough start with Amendola and Barine, and I kind of got off to a rough start, but I'm coming back now, and I was at one point in last place and just climbing back. I plan to make it back all the way into the playoffs. It was 6 teams. Those bottom 6 teams
Gangbuster
are horrible.
style.
All you got to do is make 1 or 2 good moves,
I make
and
a
you
move
can make
up
that
to
playoff
gangbusters.
spot.
Absolutely.
And that's all you really need. It all starts over in the playoffs.
Absolutely. All right, Kev, we thank you for coming back on. We'll definitely have you on before the season's over, maybe a week or two, and help some of these people into the
For the
fantasy
fantasy
playoff
playoffs, yeah.
push-off.
Sounds good, guys. Good talking to you. And hey, check. Follow me on Twitter at @ffootballgeek, and my website fandueladvisor.blogspot.com.
All right.
Kev, always appreciate it, brother. Thanks for coming on.
All right, guys. Thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
Kevin. Thanks a lot.
Take
All
care.
right. There's Kevin Epstein, the fantasy football geek
Before we
and our
go to
fantasy
break here,
football specialist.
Speaking on Vereen coming back, I heard something interesting on the fan this morning. With Vereen coming back, that backfield gets a little crowded up there in New England. Now, a good deal would be one of those backs coming to the Giants for Knicks. What do you think?
I don't think the Patriots would do that.
You don't think so?
No. What back do we want? I don't want LeGarrette Blount. I don't
Well,
want
you need a
Brandon
running
Bolden.
game somewhere.
Are they going to trade? I'll take Ridley, absolutely, but I don't think they're going
Yeah,
to
they
do that.
wouldn't, yeah.
Another rumor on that note, I heard Mark Ingram for the Saints for Knicks.
Not bad.
Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Start
I like
building
Mark
the
Ingram. I
floats
like
down
him a lot.
there.
He obviously
I don't think
had
he's
a
gotten
great
the shot.
collegiate
I
career.
don't think he's gotten the
You're
shot
right.
in
You're right about
St.
that.
Louis. I mean, look at
New
I
Orleans.
said New Orleans. Look at Reggie Bush, right? I mean, he's thriving outside of there. I think it's a crowded backfield. Ivory, another one who never really got a chance
Yeah.
there, showed he could play a little bit. No, I traded Knicks for a running back. I absolutely would if I'm the Giants. Although, unless
But
it's
you
a
don't
young
see anything
running back.
happening there.
It's so you know what?
specifically,
Just because it's so rare in the NFL,
Right,
although
yeah.
But
But it's
a number of
happening
guys,
now, yeah.
yeah. I mean, the Giants traded for John Beeson. McKinney got traded to Miami. Who that offensive
And
line's
do
a
you think
mess.
it has anything to do with the trade deadline being pushed back farther now?
Of
teams,
course,
Yeah.
Of course,
Definitely.
it has to. I mean, it was 2 weeks earlier, so
yeah,
like,
right. That's a
which
big
is
difference
silly.
when you get
I'm
halfway through the
excited.
season.
Wait, it's
Yeah.
next Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's after this week.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So we need a lot of trades to talk about
Yeah,
for
yeah.
next week. So
I mean,
Okay.
it's
We
the
got
NFL,
homework?
doesn't happen. you know what I meant to bring up. Josh Gordon might get dealt, and how about if
Right.
Josh Gordon goes to like San Fran?
yeah.
Then his value's got to go through the roof.
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get to some of that and more with Nipsey when he gets back
Nipsey.
on.
Still
he's
3-0
just-
Boston. They have
All
the
right.
bases loaded again with 1
Oh,
out.
he brought another mug.
Wainwright.
yeah.
Wainwright's he's getting battered around here.
A munchin and a mini munchin. I like it. I'll drink out of all of them. Who gives a shit? All right, let's get to a video right now from Audio Insight. This one's bathing the earth, and when we get back, it is time for the Coles News Network.
Coles!
We are 14A Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio. Right back.